When Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," or "I am the resurrection," he wasn't making philosophical statements. He was revealing the ultimate healing principle that allowed him to transform water into wine, heal the sick, and even raise the dead. But the mystery isn't in the words themselves, it's in the consciousness behind them. Have you ever wondered why, despite all your prayers and spiritual practices, you still struggle with the same problems day after day? What if the answer has been hiding in plain sight, in just two simple words that Jesus spoke thousands of years ago? Those two words are "I am." But what if they're not just a name or a casual statement? What if they contain the entire secret to spiritual power that most of us have been missing our entire lives? Has this ever happened to you? You face a challenge, maybe it's health issues, financial struggles, or relationship problems, and you pray fervently, asking God for help, for intervention, for a solution. But what if the way we've been taught to pray has been keeping us from the very healing we seek? Stay with me until the end, because what Joel Goldsmith discovered about these two words, "I am," completely transforms our understanding of Jesus' teachings and holds the key to dissolving problems without struggle or effort. You see, when Jesus uttered "I am," he wasn't identifying with his physical body or his human personality. He was declaring something much more profound, that the presence of God was his only identity. This wasn't just a nice spiritual concept. It was a practical, demonstrable principle that changed physical reality. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because it completely reverses what most of us have been taught about our relationship with God. Instead of seeking God outside ourselves, praying to a distant power, what if God is actually the very I that you are? What if the divine presence isn't something you reach for, but the essential nature of your being? This revelation shattered Joel Goldsmith's understanding of spirituality, and through decades of practice and teaching, he discovered how this simple truth could transform every aspect of human experience: health, relationships, abundance, purpose, all through a shift in consciousness. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Now imagine for a moment what it would mean if the problems you're facing aren't what they appear to be. What if they exist not because something is wrong with your life, but because you've forgotten your true identity? What if the solution isn't in changing conditions, but in remembering who you really are? This understanding of "I am" isn't just another spiritual technique or positive thinking method. It's a fundamental shift in how we perceive ourselves and our relationship with the divine. If these teachings on "I am" consciousness resonate with your spiritual journey, subscribe to join our community of seekers. Each video explores powerful principles that can transform your experience of life. This understanding changes everything because it reveals the hidden truth at the core of all spiritual teachings. For generations, we've been conditioned to think of God as separate from us, a distant power we must reach through prayer, worship, or spiritual practices. We've created this vast divide between ourselves and the divine, and then spent our lives trying to bridge a gap that never actually existed. The profound revelation that Joel Goldsmith uncovered is that God isn't something outside you that you need to connect with. God is the very I that you are. When Jesus said "I am," he wasn't claiming something special just for himself. He was demonstrating the ultimate reality that exists within each of us. Think about the transformative impact of this understanding. It means you don't need to beg or plead for what you need. You don't need to hope that your prayers reach a distant deity who might or might not respond. The divine presence isn't something you reach for. It's your essential nature, your true identity, the foundation of your being. When you truly grasp this, your entire spiritual journey shifts. Problems don't disappear overnight, but your relationship with them fundamentally changes. You're no longer a helpless person facing overwhelming circumstances. You're the infinite expressing in finite form. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how we actually use the words "I am" in our daily experience. Think about how often you say phrases like, "I am tired," "I am broke," "I am sick," or "I am afraid." Each time you attach "I am" to a condition or circumstance, you're making a profound declaration about your identity. But here's the revelatory insight that can reshape your mindset. The "I am" isn't about your human self, your personality, your history, or your current circumstances. When you understand the spiritual significance of these words, you realize that "I am" refers to the infinite presence expressing as you right now. This means that when you say "I am" with spiritual awareness, you're not speaking as a limited human being. You're speaking as consciousness itself, the boundless, timeless essence that is your true nature. The words that follow "I am" are either aligned with this truth, or they're identifying the infinite with temporary, limited conditions. Jesus demonstrated this understanding perfectly. He never said, "I am sick" or "I am lacking." Instead, he declared, "I am the resurrection and the life. I am the light of the world. I am the way, the truth, and the life." With each statement, he wasn't being metaphorical. He was identifying with the eternal, unchanging reality of his being. Can you imagine the freedom that comes when you stop identifying your essential self with temporary conditions? When you recognize that the "I" in you is the same "I" that Jesus was referring to? Write in the comments, "I recognize the "I am" within me," if this perspective is beginning to resonate with your own spiritual intuition. This revelation gets to the heart of why we suffer. Think about it. Every time you say, "I am sick," "I am broke," or "I am afraid," you're doing something profound. You're attaching your divine identity to temporary conditions. You're claiming that the infinite presence, which is your true self, is limited by circumstances. This mindset trap is the hidden source of all suffering. It's not what happens to you that causes your deepest pain. It's what you claim "I am" is. When you declare, "I am failing" or "I am not good enough," you're identifying the eternal with the temporary, the infinite with the finite. You're giving power to illusion and forgetting your true nature. Jesus demonstrated a revolutionary way of using these two powerful words. He never said, "I am sick" or "I am lacking." Instead, he declared, "I am the resurrection. I am the light. I am the way." In each instance, he was identifying with the infinite, not with conditions. He used "I am" only to claim what is eternally true, never to reinforce temporary appearances. This insight can transform your entire life journey. Your words aren't just describing your reality, they're creating it. When you attach "I am" to limitation, you're reinforcing that limitation in your experience. But when you use "I am" only with truth, with what is eternal and unchanging, your experience begins to mirror that higher consciousness. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing a crucial revelation that few spiritual teachers discuss. The "I am" isn't something you create or develop through spiritual practice. It already is. You don't become the "I am" through achievement, meditation, or years of discipline. You simply stop identifying with what you are not. This is the liberating truth behind all authentic spiritual traditions. You don't need to climb a mountain to become enlightened. You don't need to spend decades in prayer to become worthy. The divine presence that is your true self already exists in its fullness right now. Your spiritual journey isn't about becoming something new. It's about uncovering what has always been. True, every problem in your life exists for one reason: You've forgotten that the I that you are is God expressing. Not will be, not can become, but is, right now, in this moment, regardless of appearances. This isn't positive thinking or wishful manifesting. This is spiritual law. When you're facing illness, the temptation is to say, I am sick and I need healing. But the moment you claim I am sick, you've denied the truth of your being. The I that you are cannot be sick, because that I is infinite spirit. The body may show symptoms, yes, but that's not the I. The I am is perfect, whole, complete, and when you rest in this knowing, healing happens naturally without struggle. The same principle applies to every area of life. Not I am poor and need supply, but I am is the infinite abundance of God made visible. Not I am alone and need love, but I am is the presence of love itself. Drop a message in the comments saying, I claim my divine identity, if you're beginning to see how this understanding could revolutionize your entire approach to challenges. This isn't denying circumstances or pretending problems don't exist. It's recognizing what lies beneath all circumstances, the eternal I that is your true identity, unchanged by any condition that appears in the world of form. What sets this understanding apart from most spiritual teachings is its radical simplicity. Most teachings give you something to do, visualize, affirm, manifest. But what Jesus revealed through I am is something far more powerful, a state of being. I am is not an action, it's a recognition. When you truly understand this, you experience a profound mindset shift. You stop trying to get things from God and start realizing that God is already the substance of your being, expressing as your experience. This revelation turns our conventional approach to healing completely upside down. Healing isn't about changing conditions, it's about changing identity. When you know yourself as the I am, the infinite presence, conditions have no choice but to align with that truth. You don't heal the body. You recognize that the I of your being was never sick. You don't create abundance. You recognize that the I am is infinite supply. This isn't wishful thinking, it's spiritual law. The transformation that happens when this understanding deepens is remarkable. You stop living from the level of effect, reacting to appearances. Instead, you rest in the I am, and from that resting place, every need is met, every problem dissolves, every fear vanishes, not through struggle, but through spiritual recognition. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by sharing some powerful stories of people who applied this understanding and experienced extraordinary results. These aren't theoretical concepts, but practical demonstrations of what happens when you shift your identity from a person with problems to the I am expressing. Margaret had suffered with chronic pain for 7 years. She'd tried everything. Doctors found nothing wrong and no treatment brought relief. When she met Joel Goldsmith, he didn't pray for her or treat her condition. He simply asked her one question. Who is the I that says I am in pain? Ready to deepen your understanding of spiritual truth? Hit subscribe now to receive more insights about the divine presence within you and practical ways to live from I am consciousness. At first, Margaret was confused, but Joel pressed deeper. Is the I am you speak of capable of pain? Can infinite spirit hurt? Can God suffer? After sitting in silence for nearly 20 minutes, something shifted in her consciousness. She realized she'd been identifying her true self, the I am, with a body and its sensations. The pain didn't belong to the I that she was, it belonged to a false sense of identity. Within 3 weeks, her pain began to diminish. Within 2 months, it was completely gone. Not because she fought it, but because she stopped. Claiming it as her identity, her journey of healing came not from changing the condition, but from recognizing her true nature. Robert experienced a similar breakthrough with his failing business. Every morning he'd wake up thinking, I am failing, I am losing everything. His prayers were desperate pleas for God to save his business, to send customers, to provide a miracle from outside himself. Behind the scenes of his struggle was a fundamental misconception about his identity and the source of his supply. If you've ever experienced the feeling of your true self breaking through when you let go of identifying with your problems, type, "I've felt this shift," in the comments below. When Robert heard Joel speak about the I am, he experienced a profound revelation. He realized he'd been claiming lack as his identity, saying, "I am broke," instead of recognizing that the I of his being is infinite supply. This mindset shift didn't just change his thoughts, it transformed his entire reality. He began a daily practice. Every morning before looking at numbers or emails, he'd sit quietly and recognize, I am is the abundance of God. I am is infinite resource. I am is divine intelligence expressing. The transformation wasn't immediate. It took 4 months. But slowly ideas came, connections appeared, and opportunities opened that had been invisible before. His business didn't just survive. It evolved into something more aligned with his true purpose. The key insight from these stories is that the change wasn't in circumstances first, it was in consciousness. When these individuals stopped identifying with lack, pain, or failure, a new reality had space to flow through them naturally. But here's where many spiritual seekers get stuck. Understanding this truth intellectually doesn't transform your life. You must practice it until it becomes your natural state of being. Joel called this practicing the presence, not thinking about God, not praying to God, but recognizing that the I of your being is God expressing right here, right now, in this moment. It's about embodying this consciousness in everyday experiences, not just in meditation or crisis. Start with the smallest moments of your day. When you wake up, before your mind fills with problems and tasks, recognize, I am awake, not as a person waking to face another difficult day, but as infinite consciousness expressing as this experience. When you eat, recognize, I am sustained by infinite substance. When you work, recognize I am is the intelligence accomplishing this task. This isn't affirmation. There's a crucial distinction here that reveals the breakthrough potential of this approach. Affirmations try to make something true that you believe isn't true yet. They come from a place of lack, attempting to create what you don't have. Recognition, on the other hand, comes from wholeness, acknowledging what has always been present. One struggles, the other rests. One seeks, the other realizes. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring a powerful technique Joel taught for moments of crisis or intense challenge. He called it the pause. When fear grips you, when pain overwhelms you, when circumstances seem impossible, you pause everything. You don't react, you don't try to solve, you don't panic. Instead, you pause and return to the I am. This simple act interrupts the false identity and creates space for truth to emerge. In the pause, you ask, what is the truth of my being right now? Not what appears, but what is eternally true, and the truth is always the same. I am is the presence of God, untouched by any condition. I am is whole. I am is supplied. I am is safe. Not because circumstances prove it, but because this is the nature of infinite being expressing as you. If you've ever experienced a moment where pausing changed everything and allowed clarity to emerge, share the pause changed everything in the comments. A powerful insight emerges when you apply I am consciousness to your relationships with others. Every time you judge yourself or others, you're operating from personal sense, the belief that you are a separate person viewing other separate people. But from I am consciousness, a remarkable revelation dawns. The I am doesn't judge because it recognizes only itself in all. Think about the profound implications of this for your daily interactions. When someone wrongs you, the human reaction is anger, hurt, judgment. You see them as separate from you, perhaps even as an enemy, but from I am consciousness, you recognize that this person's true identity is also I am, the presence of God. They've just forgotten who they are, just as you've forgotten at times. This doesn't mean ignoring harmful behavior or abandoning appropriate boundaries. It means seeing beyond the appearance to the truth. It means recognizing that when people act from fear, anger, or greed, they're operating from a false sense of self, a case of mistaken identity. Their actions don't come from their true nature, but from their forgetting of it. Practice this with yourself first. When you fail, when you make mistakes, when you fall short of your ideals, notice how quickly judgment arises. That judgment is personal sense attacking personal sense. Instead, return to truth. The I, that you are never failed, because the I am is perfect. The mistake happened in the dream of personal identity. Wake up to your real self and begin again from wholeness. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring what Joel called impersonal supply, a revolutionary perspective that transforms your entire relationship with abundance. We've been taught that supply comes from jobs, people, investments, sources outside ourselves. This creates perpetual fear and insecurity. What if the source dries up? What if you lose the job? What if the person leaves? But when you understand that I am is infinite supply, you realize source is never outside you. Your employer isn't your source. Your clients aren't your source. Your investments aren't your source. I am is your source. And that source is infinite, never-ending, always flowing. This revelation completely reshapes your financial mindset. The channels through which supply appears may change. One job may end and another begin. One stream of income may dry up while three others open. But the source, the I am, never diminishes, never fails, never runs out. Begin living from this. Knowing in your daily experience, when you pay bills, recognize I am is infinite supply making itself visible. When you work, recognize I am is the substance of my abundance. When you give, recognize I am gives from infinite fullness, not from personal limitation. This consciousness attracts supply through unexpected channels, synchronistic opportunities, and ways you could never have planned or manipulated into being. You stop living in scarcity and start experiencing the natural flow of abundance that has always been your birthright. The shift from seeing money as something you get from outside yourself to recognizing it as the expression of the infinite I am that you are transforms not just your finances, but your entire relationship with the material world. If you're beginning to see how this principle of impersonal supply could transform your experience of abundance, write I am is my source in the comments. Let's be honest about something important. Knowing this truth, intellectually and living it consistently, are entirely different experiences. You'll have moments where you completely forget, where fear overwhelms the truth, where circumstances seem so real, so pressing, so urgent, that I am consciousness feels like fantasy. Even Joel Goldsmith experienced this. Every spiritual teacher has. This is normal. This is part of the journey. The first challenge comes when nothing seems to change. You practice, you recognize, you identify as I am, and your circumstances remain exactly the same. The illness continues, the lack persists, the problem doesn't dissolve. Your mind screams, "This doesn't work. You're fooling yourself. You need to take action, do something, fix it the old way through human effort and struggle." Joel's answer to this challenge was simple, but not easy. Spiritual realization works in consciousness first, not in conditions. Sometimes the inner shift happens quickly, and outer change follows immediately. Sometimes the inner Work takes weeks or months of consistent practice before you see evidence in the physical world. Your job isn't to make things happen. Your job is to know the truth and remain faithful to it, regardless of appearances. This requires a patience that goes against everything our instant gratification culture has taught us. The hidden truth is that transformation often happens beneath the surface, long before it becomes visible. Another challenge arises from other people's reactions. When you start living from I am consciousness, you become different. You stop complaining. You stop participating in fear-based conversations. You stop agreeing that circumstances are terrible and hopeless. Some people will think you're in denial. Others will think you've joined a cult. Some will actively try to pull you back into agreement with limitation. A man in Joel's classes lost friends when he stopped engaging in their constant complaints about money, health, and politics. They thought he didn't care. They accused him of being cold, disconnected, superior. But he wasn't judging them. He simply couldn't participate in claiming lack and limitation as truth anymore. He had to choose between the comfort of agreement and the integrity of consciousness. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how I am consciousness transforms your relationships. Most relationship problems come from seeking completion in another person. You feel incomplete, so you look for someone to fill the emptiness. You feel unloved, so you need someone to love you. But this places impossible demands on human relationships and guarantees disappointment. When you recognize I am is infinite love, the very nature of your being, everything changes. You're not seeking love, you're expressing the love you are. You don't need completion from another because you're already whole. Relationships become the sharing of wholeness rather than the trading of neediness. This doesn't mean you don't desire partnership. It means you desire it from fullness, not from lack. One woman practiced this after 3 failed marriages. She stopped looking for someone to make her happy and started recognizing I am is infinite love and joy. The mindset breakthrough transformed not just her inner landscape, but her entire relationship destiny. If you've experienced a shift from seeking love outside yourself to recognizing love as your essential nature, type I am complete within myself in the comments. The understanding of I am brings remarkable clarity to how we approach health and well-being. Medical treatment certainly has its place, but I am consciousness reveals something deeper. Your body isn't your identity. The I am you are is pure spirit, perfect life, incapable of disease. This revelation doesn't mean denying symptoms or refusing appropriate care. It means not identifying with the condition. You have a body showing symptoms. You are not those symptoms. The I that you are is eternally whole. Joel Goldsmith himself experienced the power of this understanding when he healed from tuberculosis. Doctors had given him months to live, but he refused to claim the disease as his identity. He didn't fight it or fear it. He simply rested in the knowing. I am is perfect life. The disease has nothing to do with my true identity. His body healed completely, and he lived decades beyond the doctor's prognosis. You can practice this with any health challenge. Instead of saying, I'm sick, recognize the body is showing symptoms, but I am is whole. Don't identify with the diagnosis. Remember that a diagnosis describes a condition in matter, but your true self is spirit, untouched by material conditions. This isn't denial, it's discernment between what is temporary and what is eternal. The same revelation transforms your relationship with work and purpose. Most people see their job merely as how they survive. They trade time and energy for money, often enduring work they hate because they need income. But I am consciousness transforms work from survival into expression. Your work becomes how infinite intelligence and creativity flow into visible form. Not work you must do, but work you're designed to do. When you recognize I am is infinite intelligence, you stop forcing. You stop trying to figure everything out through limited human thinking. You pause, recognize the I am, and allow ideas to flow from that infinite source. The right work finds you, the right opportunities appear, the right people cross your path, not through networking and manipulation, but through spiritual alignment with your true nature. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the ultimate integration, living as I am consistently. This isn't something you do during meditation or when problems arise. It becomes your constant state of being. You wake as I am. You walk as I am. You work as I am. You love as I am. You rest as I am. Every experience becomes the infinite expressing in finite form. You're no longer a person trying to be spiritual, your spirit appearing as person. This transformation doesn't make you perfect in behavior. You'll still make mistakes, still have preferences, still experience the full range of human emotions. But underneath it all, you know what you are. Think of it this way. A wave still looks like a wave, moves like a wave, has its unique shape and expression. But it never forgets it's the ocean. You're the wave that knows itself as the infinite sea, expressing in this particular form. This awareness doesn't separate you from human experience. It deepens your engagement with it. Joel lived this way. People around him felt something different, not superiority or detachment, but presence. When he entered a room, consciousness shifted. When he spoke, people's problems often dissolved without him directly addressing them. If this idea of living as I am in every moment resonates with the journey you're on, share I am the wave and the ocean in the comments. You know, what we've explored today isn't just philosophy or spiritual theory. It's a practical, transformative understanding that can reshape every aspect of your life when you begin to live from it. Joel Goldsmith spent decades discovering and teaching this profound truth that Jesus demonstrated. The I am is not just a name or a statement. It's the key to spiritual freedom. Start today, right now. Whatever you're facing, whatever challenge or fear or need is pressing on you, pause. Stop trying to solve it humanly. Stop seeing yourself as a person with a problem. Return to truth. Recognize I am is the only presence and power. I am is whole. I am is supplied. I am is safe. I am is loved. Not because conditions prove it, but because this is the eternal nature of being. As this becomes your foundation, watch what happens. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, consistently, powerfully. Problems that seemed impossible begin to dissolve. Needs you struggled to meet begin to be fulfilled through unexpected channels. Relationships that were painful begin to heal. Not because you made it happen, but because you stopped blocking it with false identity. If you've found value in these insights and want to continue exploring this path of spiritual awareness with me, hit the subscribe button below. I share these practical spiritual teachings regularly, focusing on how to apply them in your daily life for real transformation. If this message resonated with your soul today, simply leave a comment saying, I am awake to my true self, so I know who's walking this path with me. And if you found this helpful, giving the video a like helps others discover these teachings too. It's a simple way to extend the light of understanding to those who might be searching for exactly this message. I've created a video right here that takes this understanding even deeper, exploring how to apply I am consciousness to healing specific life challenges. Click and join me there as we continue this journey of spiritual awakening together.